There is something fascinating about watching a nobody rise into someone others listen to. We see it in politics, business, and even in everyday life. A person who begins with no influence, no powerful allies, and no special advantages, somehow climbs into a position where people treat them with respect. That climb is never smooth, and it often demands a sharp understanding of human nature. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this problem better than most. He wrote about power with a blunt honesty that many thinkers avoid, and he explained why some leaders rise while others fade away. For anyone who wants to understand leadership at its core, Machiavelli offers more than cold strategy. He offers clarity. He understood that people want stability, confidence, and direction, especially when everything around them feels uncertain. A leader who gains respect is not just someone with authority. They are someone who learns how to read the moment, control their impulses, and make decisions that others are too afraid to make. When someone starts with nothing, these qualities matter even more. This video explores how a person can move from obscurity to authority using Machiavelli's most powerful insights. It does not praise cruelty. It does not ignore ethics. Instead, it studies how power actually works in real life. Each section breaks down part of Machiavelli's formula, showing how his ideas apply far beyond Renaissance Italy. By the end, you will see how strategy, character, courage, and reputation shape the journey from nobody to respected leader. 1. The world that shaped Machiavelli's thinking. To understand Machiavelli's lessons, you need to understand the world he lived in. Renaissance Italy was filled with conflict. Cities fought one another. Foreign armies marched across the land. Leaders rose quickly and fell even faster. Betrayal was common, and loyalty was never guaranteed. Machiavelli watched these events closely, often working behind the scenes as a diplomat. What he saw convinced him that idealistic thinking could get a leader killed, while clear, grounded thinking could save entire states. This environment shaped his belief that leadership is not only about good intentions, it is about survival, stability, and results. Machiavelli understood that people judge leaders by what they accomplish, not by what they hope to accomplish. If a leader hesitated at the wrong moment, they could lose everything. That reality shaped his writing. His focus on effective action comes from watching real leaders succeed or collapse under pressure. At the same time, Machiavelli was not simply promoting brutality. He saw cruelty as a tool that should be used sparingly and only when necessary to prevent greater harm. His true focus was discipline and foresight. He believed that a leader must anticipate problems, prepare for danger, and make decisions that protect the future. When we read his works today, the world is different, but the principles of timing, strategy, and clear thinking remain just as relevant. 2. The first step, knowing yourself and reading your environment. Machiavelli teaches that the journey from nobody to respected leader begins with self-awareness. A person must understand their strengths and weaknesses with complete honesty. This kind of self-examination is uncomfortable, but it lays the foundation for strong decision-making. A leader who misjudges their own ability will choose the wrong battles and trust the wrong people. Someone who wants to rise cannot afford that kind of self-deception. Alongside self-awareness comes the ability to read the environment. Machiavelli believed that fortune favors the leader who pays attention. This means studying the people around you, understanding their motives, and sensing the direction events are moving. Many people ignore subtle signals, but a rising leader sees them clearly. This skill helps them predict challenges, spot opportunities early, and adapt when conditions change without warning. A person who masters both self-awareness and environmental awareness gains a powerful advantage. They do not walk blindly into conflict. They do not make emotional decisions that weaken their position. Instead, they move with intention. They use their strengths wisely and compensate for their weaknesses before they become dangerous. According to Machiavelli, this kind of clarity is the first step that separates those who remain invisible from those who rise into leadership. 3. Virtue, the engine behind a leader's rise. For Machiavelli, one of the most important qualities a leader can possess is virtue. This word does not mean virtue in the moral sense. It refers to a person's strength, courage, and ability to shape events through action. Virtue is the force that allows someone to take control of their circumstances instead of being controlled by them. A person who starts with nothing needs virtue more than anyone else, because it becomes the engine that drives their rise from obscurity. Virtue shows itself through determination. A person with virtue refuses to let fear make decisions for them. They take calculated risks when others hesitate. Machiavelli believed that people respect strength because it gives them a sense of security. When someone with no background or status acts with confidence, people notice. They begin to see that this person does not fold under pressure. They begin to trust them. That trust becomes the first step toward building real authority. Another part of virtue is discipline. Machiavelli knew that talent without control collapses under its own weight. A potential leader must learn to regulate their emotions, keep their commitments, and move with intention instead of impulse. Without discipline, ambition becomes recklessness. With discipline, ambition becomes a strategic tool. This combination of courage and self-control is what allows an ordinary person to make extraordinary progress over time. 4. Fortuna, understanding the role of chance. Fortuna represents the unpredictable side of life. It is the luck, timing, and random events that a leader cannot fully control. Machiavelli never denies that chance plays a role in success. Sometimes opportunities appear without warning. Sometimes disaster strikes at the worst moment. The important lesson is not that fortune rules everything, but that a leader's response to fortune decides whether they rise or fall. People who start from nothing often encounter setbacks before they see progress. Machiavelli believed that these moments reveal a person's true potential. A weak leader blames bad luck. A strong one adapts. They find a way to use even unfavorable circumstances to their advantage. They understand that fortune may create obstacles, but it also creates openings. The people who succeed are the ones who stay alert enough to recognize those openings. Machiavelli also believed that fortune favors the bold. This does not mean acting recklessly. It means understanding that opportunities often appear for only a short time. Leaders who hesitate often miss their chance. Leaders who step forward with clear judgment often secure rewards that others were too timid to pursue. Fortune may control half of what happens to a person, but the other half belongs to them. The more prepared they are, the more they can shape fortune instead of being shaped by it. 5. The power of reputation and perception. Machiavelli understood that reputation can lift a person into leadership faster than almost anything else. People often judge a leader not by what they know firsthand, but by what they believe to be true. This makes reputation a powerful tool. Someone who begins with no title or status can rise far more quickly if they build a reputation for competence, reliability, and strength. Once people believe in you, they treat you differently. Reputation grows from consistent behavior. Machiavelli warned that a single careless action can undo years of progress. For this reason, he advised leaders to protect their image with the same care they give to their strategy. A rising leader must be aware of how their choices appear to others. This does not mean being fake, it means being intentional. When your behavior aligns with your goals, people begin to associate your name with authority. Perception also shapes trust. People are drawn to leaders who appear steady, knowledgeable, and confident. They want someone who can handle pressure without falling apart. Machiavelli believed that even small signs of weakness can create doubt. A rising leader must learn to show calmness, even when they feel uncertainty inside. Over time, this consistency becomes a powerful force. It attracts allies, reduces opposition, and creates the foundation for long-term respect. 6. The role of strategy. Choosing battles and timing your moves. Machiavelli believed that strategy is not just about making plans. It is about choosing the right moment to act and the right moment to hold back. A person rising from nothing cannot afford to waste energy on battles that do not matter. They must place their efforts where the impact is greatest. Strategic thinking requires patience, observation, and the willingness to ignore distractions. Many people lose their way because they chase every challenge, while a smart leader focuses only on the ones that move them closer to their goal. Timing plays a major role in Machiavelli's view of strategy. Even the right action can fail if it is taken too early or too late. A leader must learn to read the situation with precision. This means watching how people behave, noticing shifts in mood, and understanding when an opportunity is truly ready. Timing separates impulsive decisions from calculated ones. When someone starting from nothing learns to act at the right moment, they move forward quickly and confidently. Strategy also involves playing the long game. Machiavelli favored leaders who thought several steps ahead. A decision made today should support the goals of tomorrow. A rising leader must plan not only how to gain power, but how to keep it. They must ask themselves who benefits from their success, who feels threatened, and what alliances they will need later. This long-term awareness protects them from surprises and keeps their path clear, even when the situation becomes complicated. 7. Alliances, friends, and enemies. Every leader, whether powerful or unknown, must deal with people who can help or hinder their rise. Machiavelli saw alliances as essential tools, but he also understood their limits. An alliance built on convenience can vanish when circumstances change, so a rising leader must choose their partners with care. They should seek people who share their vision or benefit directly from their success. These relationships create a support system that becomes crucial when challenges appear. At the same time, Machiavelli warned that false friends can be more dangerous than open enemies. Someone who pretends to support you while working against you can damage your progress quietly. A leader must learn to read intentions. This requires listening closely, watching behavior, and noticing inconsistencies. When a person begins with no status, they are often more vulnerable to manipulation. Machiavelli's advice helps them avoid traps, protect their growth, and keep their direction steady. Enemies, surprisingly, can sometimes be useful. Machiavelli believed that opposition reveals a leader's strength. When handled correctly, an enemy can highlight a leader's courage and resolve. The key is not to create unnecessary hostility. Instead, a rising leader should recognize which conflicts are unavoidable and which ones are distractions. When they manage their relationships with clarity, they build a network of trust and influence that supports their rise into a respected position. 8. Discipline and control. Mastering yourself before leading others. Machiavelli understood that a leader who cannot control themselves cannot control anything else. Discipline is one of the strongest tools a rising leader can develop. It shapes how they think, how they react, and how they make decisions. People respect leaders who stay grounded when others panic. They trust leaders who do not let emotions guide their choices. This stability becomes a magnet for followers who want reliability in uncertain times. Self-control also affects how a leader uses their power. Machiavelli believed that power magnifies everything inside a person. If someone is reckless, their recklessness grows. If they are focused, their focus grows. For someone starting from nothing, discipline helps them avoid mistakes that can ruin their progress. It prevents them from acting out of anger, pride, or insecurity. These emotional decisions can cause damage that is difficult to repair. Discipline also builds consistency. People watch leaders closely. They pay attention to patterns. If a leader behaves one way today and differently tomorrow, trust weakens. But if a leader shows up every day with the same level of commitment, clarity, and patience, people begin to follow their example. Machiavelli believed that this consistency is what sets respected leaders apart from those who rise briefly and fall just as quickly. A leader who masters themselves has already won half the battle. 9. Managing fear and love, the balance that builds authority. One of Machiavelli's most debated ideas is his discussion of whether it is better for a leader to be feared or loved. His actual point is more nuanced than people often assume. He understood that both emotions influence behavior, and a rising leader must learn how to handle them with care. Fear can create order and respect, while love creates loyalty and goodwill. A leader who begins with no status must learn how to balance these forces instead of relying on only one. Machiavelli argued that fear is more reliable than love, because fear does not change as easily. People may love a leader today and turn against them tomorrow if circumstances shift. But if they respect the leader's strength and boundaries, they are less likely to challenge them. This does not mean cruelty is necessary. It means a leader must set clear limits and enforce them consistently. When people know what a leader stands for, they feel less confusion and more stability. Love plays an important role as well. A leader who inspires genuine loyalty becomes far more resilient in times of crisis. Followers who feel valued and respected are more willing to stand with a leader when challenges arise. Machiavelli believed that a balanced leader combines firmness with humanity. They are strong enough to be respected and generous enough to be trusted. This combination helps a rising leader earn not only authority but long-term support. 10. Handling conflict and crisis. Conflict is unavoidable in any leadership journey, especially for someone rising from a humble beginning. Machiavelli believed that crises reveal a leader's true character. When everything falls apart, people look for someone who can restore order. A leader who responds with clarity and strength gains respect that cannot be achieved through words alone. The way someone manages their first major crisis often shapes how people view them for years. During conflict, Machiavelli encouraged leaders to act decisively. Indecision can be fatal because it signals weakness. A leader who hesitates gives their opponents room to grow stronger. But a leader who moves with purpose shows that they understand the seriousness of the situation. This does not mean acting blindly. It means making informed decisions quickly and taking responsibility for the outcome. People respect leaders who take charge when things are at their worst. Crises also give leaders a chance to demonstrate fairness. Machiavelli warned that excessive brutality creates resentment, but total softness invites chaos. The right approach lies in measured action. A leader should correct the problem firmly but avoid unnecessary harm. When handled with balance, a crisis becomes an opportunity to show strength, protect the community, and reinforce the leader's reputation. For someone starting from nothing, how they behave during conflict can become the turning point in their rise. 11. Stability, the final goal of power. To Machiavelli, gaining power and keeping power are two different skills. Many can climb to leadership, but only a few can keep their position over time. Stability requires constant awareness. A leader must manage the needs of the people, maintain alliances, and watch for threats before they grow. Machiavelli believed that stability is the final test of leadership. If a leader cannot create a secure environment, their authority eventually collapses. Stability also comes from consistency. A leader should not change direction with every new opinion or trend. People need to know what their leader stands for. They need to see a clear direction and steady progress. When a leader shifts too often, followers lose confidence. But when a leader remains focused and intentional, they create a sense of predictability that encourages trust. That trust becomes the foundation of long-term respect. A leader who starts with nothing must work even harder to build stability. They must prove themselves through action, not only words. They must show that their leadership is not temporary or accidental. This means building systems, training competent supporters, and preparing for challenges before they occur. When a leader reaches the point where their position no longer depends on luck or charisma, but on solid structure, they have reached true authority. That is the end goal of Machiavelli's formula. Conclusion. Machiavelli's ideas remain powerful because they describe leadership as it truly unfolds, not as we wish it would. His approach may seem harsh at first, but beneath the bluntness is a deep understanding of how people think, react, and follow. For someone who begins with no status, no powerful allies, and no established credibility, these lessons become even more valuable. Machiavelli shows that leadership is not reserved for the privileged. It is built through awareness, discipline, courage, strategy, and a steady understanding of human nature. The journey from nobody to respected leader begins with knowing yourself and reading the world with honesty. It continues through careful planning, strong reputation, and the ability to balance firmness with humanity. A rising leader must adapt to fortune, master their emotions, and make decisions that protect the future instead of pleasing the moment. These skills take time to develop, but they are available to anyone willing to commit to them. Machiavelli believed that power is not a gift. It is something earned through intention and consistent action. What makes a leader truly respected is not force but clarity. It is not manipulation but control of oneself. It is not luck but preparation. When a person applies Machiavelli's principles with wisdom instead of cruelty, they rise with integrity and strength. They earn respect not through fear alone, but through reliability, competence, and a presence that others trust. This is the real message behind Machiavelli's formula for power. Leadership grows from deliberate choice, from disciplined growth, and from the courage to take responsibility for shaping your own path. Anyone who embraces these ideas can rise from obscurity and build a legacy that lasts.